3, 2, 1.
Oh, am I saying the good morning part? Snap.
Good afternoon, guys. Welcome to the Rock Point Kids Rock Devotional for this week. We've got our special guests, my wife Kate, my son Johnnie, and Elsa from Frozen.
Elsa, do you know anything about the Bible?
No.
No? Well, great. We're going to be reading a story today from our Jesus Storybook Bible. So if you have this at home, you can follow along with us. We're going to be reading a story called The Young Hero and the Horrible Giant, which starts on page 122. So I'll hold up so you can see the pictures, but if you want to follow along at home, you can do that. So, are you ready to help me?
Yes.
Okay, great. God's people had some scary enemies, but the Philistines were the scariest of them all. And now the Philistines had come to fight them. The Philistines had a secret weapon called, do you know his name? What's the giant's name?
Goliath.
Goliath. Goliath was a terrifying soldier. And worst of all, he was a giant. Look how big he is. He's so much bigger than everybody else. He's huge. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
He's huge. A giant so strong and so tall and so scary that no one had ever been able to fight him and live to tell the tale. So there they were, the Philistines, standing on one top of a hill, and God's people, the Israelites, were standing on the top of another. Every day, Goliath came out and shouted, "Send your best soldier to fight me, and if he wins, we will be your slaves. But if I win, you will be our slaves." No one spoke. No one moved. "Chickens," Goliath bellowed. "Your God can't save you. I'll rip your heads off and have you on toast." Ah, that's scary.
That's a kid's story.
Hey, we're not done yet. His beady, greedy eyes glowered at them hungrily from under his horrible helmet, as if any minute he really might just gobble them all up. And he laughed his terrible laugh. Ah, 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 ah. It boomed, echoing horribly around and around the dry valley. Well, Goliath might just as well have been a green, slimy monster with 3 heads, because God's people froze with fear. Their eyes glazed over and they turned deathly pale. They knew if someone didn't do something quick, if someone didn't save them, but God would do something. He would send someone to save them. Now, you remember that David was the youngest son of Jesse.
Jesse?
He was just a little boy.
Mom?
His brothers were soldiers in the army.
Jesse is in Toy Story too.
Yeah, it's a different Jessie. I know, you know Jessie from Toy Story. She lives at Disney, so she knows. So,
And Elsa.
David brought his brothers their lunches. He saw Goliath and he saw how scared everyone was. "Don't be afraid," David said. "I'll fight him for you." "You're only a little shepherd boy," the king said. "Goliath is a great soldier. How will you fight him?" "God will help me," David said. So the king gave David his royal armor to wear. Here's a picture of him trying on the king's giant armor. He's just a little boy.
Can I see?
See?
That's it.
It was too heavy and too big for little David. David couldn't even walk with it on. "I won't need this," David said. Instead, David picked out 5 smooth, what did he pick out? Rocks, 5 smooth stones from the stream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he took his slingshot and he walked towards Goliath. Step, step, step. Goliath walked towards David. Thud, thud, thud. "You?" Goliath peered down at the small boy. "I'm little," David shouted up to him, "but God is great." Goliath laughed an even terribler laugh than usual. "Oh, oh, oh, oh," it went. With just one swing of his giant sword, Goliath could finish the boy off. But David kept going. It isn't how strong you are, how many swords or spears you have that will save you. It's God who saves you. This is God's battle, and God always wins his battles. David put a stone in his sling, and he swung it around and around and around, and he let it go. The little stone flew, whiz, like a bullet through the air, and it struck Goliath, thud, right between the eyes. Goliath stopped laughing. He stumbled and he staggered, and crash, he fell dead. When the Philistines saw Goliath was dead, they ran away. And when God's people saw them running away, they cheered. Hooray! God had saved his people. David was a hero. Many years later, God would send his people another young hero to fight for them and to save them. Who's that?
I don't know.
Who's our hero that came as a tiny baby?
Baby Jesus.
Baby Jesus. Jesus would save them. This hero, Jesus, would fight the greatest battle the world has ever known. That is our whole story for today.
Wow.
That was good.
That's a wonderful story, especially about a small child with God on his side tackling a great giant.
That was good.
Ellie, do you ever feel like David and there's something in your life that is scary and you have to fight off?
Do you ever feel scared?
Yeah, that's because I have scared dreams.
Yeah, she had a scary dream last night, actually.
Ooh, that is scary.
Who can help us when we're scared? Jesus, yeah. God always helps us.
Yeah.
And even when there's a battle that seems like it's too big for us, who can we trust to protect us and provide for us and take care of us?
Baby Jesus.
Baby Jesus. We can trust God,
That's right.
right?
I can see that wiggle.
So sometimes on our own, we may feel small or weak. But when we put our faith in God, big things can happen. Can you say that, Ellie? When we put our faith in God, what? Big things can happen. And we're going to have a special guest today help us do a science experiment that can help us understand that when we put our trust in God and our faith in God, what? Yes, we can tell about our butterflies. When we put our faith in God, what? Big
things can happen.
Big things can happen. Do you want to help with an experiment?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
come on.
And so the big idea is that when you put your faith in God, Ellie, can you put some of that in here? When you put your faith in God,
Go ahead, Ellie.
big things can happen.
Okay, Johnny's turn.
Ready?
I don't believe
You
it.
took something too? Look at that.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
Put some in, buddy. Whoa.
Wow.
Big
That's
things can
cool.
happen, right, guys?
Big things can happen, right, guys?
Yes.
Look at
Whoa.
that. Look, Johnny, it's bubbling.
See that?
More.
More. I made this. I want to go.
You need your safety goggles. What if it explodes all over your face?
Oh.
Everything will happen, guys.
All right.
Everything will happen.
Yeah. When it explodes like this, it will explode.
Thanks for watching our experiment today.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks.
Can you wave?
If you guys want to try this at home, just mix vinegar and baking soda with your parents. You need an adult.
Bye.
Bye.